rises my heart. Now more than that's the real alert that the Supreme Court's finding on Heller represented, is that we, the people who know the truth and that God gave us these individual rights, need to speak up more and more all the time.
Folks, we're talking to Ted Nugent, who's touring the country right now. Ted, you look, I mean, I've had you on a couple times over the years. I think the first time I interviewed you was, I think, 8 years ago, and then about 5 years ago, so it's been about 5 years since you've joined us. And I totally agree with you. We don't need open borders. We don't need gun control. We need more liberty, not less liberty. We need to legalize freedom, like Ron Paul has said. But, I mean, we have the Republican Party that's tripled the size of government the last 8 years.
It's horrible.
George Bush said that he would sign the assault weapons ban if it got to his desk. Thank God it didn't. So my whole point is, how do we awaken the people that both parties are sold out to interests that don't want us to have freedom?
Well, and Alex, God bless you for using your megaphone, which we all have, by the way. Yours just happens to be on radio. I get to go in the media literally every day, multiple times. I do over 1,500 interviews every year, because as a participating we the people experimenter in self-government, I believe it is our moral and spiritual obligation to be involved, to be outspoken, to blow those whistles. And here's the answer. The simple answer is outlined lick for lick in a brand new book I'm just wrapping up right now for Regnery Publishing, called Ted, White, and Blue, the Nugent Manifesto. And we need to end not the scourge of liberalism in this country, but the scourge of apathy. And yes, I have many blood brothers that are hardcore, rugged individuals in the great Republic of Texas. But if you look around you in our home state of Texas, Alex, or Illinois, or Mass, literally every state, the enemy isn't the liberals. The enemy is those of us who know and live logic every day, but don't do a damn thing about it. The curse in America is apathy, and we need to communicate with our friends at work, at school, at church, at the barbecue pit, at the bowling alley, at the shooting range. We need to communicate and prod specific issues, and I think it should start with gun control. It should go to taxes and education upgrade and reform, welfare reform, but we need to get these logical lifestyles by the most productive American families, those that have an alarm clock and bust their ass to be the best that they can be. We need to find that extra time like the Nugent family does, and let our senator, our congressman, our state rep, our governor, our mayor, and the White House know exactly what we expect. For example, those two border agents who are in jail right now, Compion and Ramos, they should be exonerated and they should be pardoned tonight. And every American should be pounding our own bully pulpit and demand that these heroes of law enforcement and border security are exonerated and let out of prison immediately. That's just one example.
Yes, it is. Ted, we're talking to Ted Nugent right now, author, best-selling author, TV host, filmmaker, and, of course, rock star. Ted, do me a favor. You say your voice isn't strong. It's super strong. Can you back off your cell phone there a little bit?
I can try a little bit, yes, sir. I get a little passionate. And what I was articulating, if I may, just for a moment here, Alex, I'm just a guitar player. I lead a simple life. I'm intense, and I have a lot of energy because I've taken good care of myself, and I have many, many dreams, even at the tender age of 60. But what I have discovered and what I've outlined in Ted, White, and Blue, this new book I've written, is that the Nugent family does not experience any of the problems that are plaguing America today. If I may specify, we don't have welfare in the Nugent house. We wouldn't allow it. We wouldn't allow a handout into the Nugent house because we bust our ass to be the best that we can be, and we are driven to be productive. We don't need border security on our property. No one invades our property because we've sent out a message. If you look like you're going to invade our property, we will shoot you. I could go on, but we don't need education money thrown at us, because when we see a misspelling or the misspoken word or bad hygiene, our loving family intervenes and we educate ourselves and our loved ones and our friends. This is the gist of the problem in America today, that it's all self-inflicted. Every problem, from the deficit to the welfare horror to the
Ted, I agree with you, but the biggest problem we've seen in the last 8 years is that conservatives did go to sleep, did have apathy, thinking George Bush has saved us from the monster Bill Clinton. Everything is okay now. We can just go quietly into the night. Meanwhile, our currency's been devalued. The government, as I said earlier, has tripled in size. And so what I see is real conservatives and libertarians being co-opted by the Republican Party. And, of course, if we had a real leadership, that wouldn't have happened. And I know you're friends with a lot of these big-wig Republicans, and you know, loyalty is something. But if people like Ted Nugent, I know you have spoken out some, really started going after the wolves in sheep's clothing that we have, I think we would turn this around a lot quicker. In every poll, Americans actually want true independence and liberty. But both parties won't give it to us. I mean, 91% of Americans want to control our borders in all the major polls and Gallup polls, but both parties won't give it to us.
You're absolutely correct, Allison. Believe me, in between all the responsibilities in my life as a father, as a husband, as a neighbor, as a productive American, I would challenge you to find anyone who is more involved, more communication, gung-ho than this man you have on the phone right now. Believe me, as I salute the Governor Perrys and the Mike Huckabees, as I salute those Republicans that are doing a good job, I scold them more often than I salute them.
What did you think of the NAFTA highways and the Trans-Texas Corridor?
I think it's an abomination. And the good governor has heard from me on that. I pound my bully pulpit every day. Well, maybe not opening day of deer season, but every other day. And maybe not every day during the rut. But, Alex, I scream from every mountaintop I can that we the people, you know, I hang out with great ranchers and welders and plumbers and cops and teachers.
You're out by Kerrville, right?
Well, I live up in Waco, and I hang out with Texans and Americans here. I'm in Iowa speaking to you. I was in South Dakota. I was up in Wisconsin. I'm traveling all over the nation. And I meet with wounded warriors, the heroes of the military, every day, Alex. And they are upset because they've sacrificed their legs and their arms for the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the American dream. And they're upset that the Republican Party has turned into Fetzilla, a pig, a gluttonous, slovenly, indulgent pig.
Ted Nugent, stay there. Quick break. I want to come back with you, the new book, Ted White and Blue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with Ted Nugent, our final segment with him. And I'm going to be skipping the next break so we can have as much time with him as possible. Last time I had you for an hour, Ted. We've got to have you back up for a full hour so we can take calls sometime.
I'm all yours, Alex. I really appreciate the opportunity. And believe me, when I'm on the phone with you, I'm not representing the Nugent family alone. I'm representing families all across this great nation who are frustrated with the bureaucrats out there, and we need to upgrade this experiment in self-government as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Ted, fire out some of your websites for the listeners out there so they can check them out.
Well, certainly, Alex, I would invite you to come to tednugent.com. We have a talk back, and I got to tell you, you will never go to a website with more growing, vital, electric activism than you will find at tednugent.com talkback. I also write a weekly feature on humanevents.com and a weekly feature for the Waco Trib that you can find at wacotrib.com. But these are the kinds of activities that the Nugent family is involved with. And if you see the various television shows, I'm going to be on Anthony Bourdain shooting machine guns and cooking turkey here in the next couple of weeks, on A&E with Chris Angel doing an archery exhibition and talking about freedom and talking about rugged individualism. I'm going to be on the Toby Keith movie coming up, Beer for My Horses, and even though I play a wild character, it's not unlike the way I live my life. So I try to be the best that I can be and try to penetrate as much of the media as possible to bring a U.S. Constitution and a Bill of Rights crowbar of truth to an otherwise communist propaganda network.
All right, Ted, I want to bring up now just a few quick key questions for you and get answers on those, just as because we're limited on time, the shortest answers we can possibly get from you. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a few of those questions right now. We are talking with Ted Nugent, author, TV show host, of course, best known for being a great guitarist and a rock star. And in the few minutes we've got left with him today, Ted, the problem is the New World Order. The problem is the private Federal Reserve. And that's why both parties behave one way, the opposite of the Constitution, Bill of Rights. The problem is, you talk about defending the Bill of Rights and Constitution, and I know you're a good guy and believe in that, but when you actually look that they have used the Patriot Act on citizens and in non-terror related cases, when you look at the fact that the presidency is getting powers that Barack Obama is going to have when Bush is gone, even if you think Bush is, at some levels, a good guy, how do you respond to that statement? How do we deal? Well, first, are you aware of the New World Order, the globalists, and how do we deal with them?